building an alliance to defend ourselves.
How do you know your team's strong enough? If you can't bring down the charging bull, then don't wave the red cape at it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hey everyone, welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. I am your host, Kelton, and joining me this week, as always, is my amazing co-host, Grift. How's it going, sir?
It's going well. Just Monday, starting the week off here.
Monday, fun day. That's what we would like to view, unless like you're Garfield Twitter, in which case then you hate the Mondays. I think that has to be part of like the kayfabe that exists. But I'm pretty excited though that we're finally able to record because it's finally here. We are actually able to talk about the Snyder Cut, something that I don't think two white guys on the podcast have ever done before. We are really trailblazing here at this moment.
We are breaking new ground. We are prospecting after the mother box. We're gonna find all three of them and unify them and come up with the perfect unified leftist theory from them.
As much, again, we're gonna dive into it here. How much are you willing to bet that in the first draft, those mother boxes, instead of becoming the unity, they became the Trinity? Just really laying on the Jesus allegory really thick there.
I'm honestly surprised that he didn't do that, given the heavy-handedness of his imagery and language.
It's growth. It's growth as a director. We have to credit him for that. As he puts a black and white Joker with a crown of thorns on his head. It's progress. Let's talk about some initial thoughts. Like, what did you think about this movie?
Obviously, it was better than Joss Whedon's original one, but that the bar's fucking subterranean there. But honestly, it's 4 hours long. It's not meant to be consumed in a single sitting. I made a valiant effort. I tried. I fell asleep halfway through.
Congratulations.
So it was a 2-sitting experience for me. And honestly, like, it started off, I was vibing with it. Its pacing was much more relaxed and confident because he knew that he didn't have to shortchange any of the characters' backstories like a studio cut would have. He could really flesh them out. Characters like Cyborg in particular really, really benefited from that.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. So I liked all that, but then it just sort of kept dragging on, and we got into the bombastic CGI fights and this superhero smash fest that these type of movies, and particularly Snyder's, always devolve into. And like, it was basically the same outcome as the original one, plus this sort of villain lurking in the background who we may not even get any resolution on if they don't make sequels.
Oh yeah. Come on now.
Yeah.
This, I think, there's always a discussion, like, is this the director at his best, or is this the director at his most? And I think that in this particular case, it's both, because, you had all the Snyder tropes. You had like the sepia tone, you had slow motion. It was in 4:3, so it was looking fucking square, and just all of that was in existence. But like you said, it had an element of confidence and of self-pacing to it that I could really get behind. It's insane that it's a 4-hour movie, like, just right off the bat. Anyone who says like, oh, I sat down and I watched it all in one sitting, like, my God, what is your life? Are you okay? Like, do you need people to check in on you? But I really do think that this show, Zack Snyder, has a much more definitive touch and a certain element of grace when it came to directing that I honestly didn't think that he really had before. Now, granted, it took fucking 4 years, 6 years of production, if you want to count it that way, and like $370 million total. So I'm not saying it's worth it, but like, it is a remarkable improvement. So I don't know. We need to come up with a rating system somehow. Like, I felt so bad when we were popping over to Drum Circle Jerk. We did an episode with them recently, and they asked us, what was it, like, on a scale of 1 to 4 bags of popcorn or something?
One to 5 bags of popcorn, I think.
1 to 5 bags of popcorn.
I mean, maybe we could do garbage cans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The more garbage cans is better? I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I think the more garbage cans is worse. I think that's
okay.
how. Yeah.
I give this film 0. That's right, 0 garbage cans. Perfect film. Oh God. I mean, I would say that people should watch it. I would be kind of pissed if I bought this movie, because what the fuck? But it's free on streaming, so go ahead and watch it.
Yeah, and that's what it's made to appeal for, because you can't release a 4-hour movie in theaters. I mean, this thing doesn't even have an intermission. Like, you would think that, like, between the 6 chapters and the epilogue, Snyder would, in all his pretension, would have put in some sort of black 4:3 aspect ratio intermission screen.
Oh, absolutely. All it would be a completely black screen at the beginning, right? And then as time goes on, Justice League, the font and the logo of Justice League slowly starts to appear more and more and more, getting brighter and brighter over time. Probably as like the song Hallelujah plays 4 straight times in a row.
Yeah, just in my notes here, I just had, they played a Hallelujah song in the end credits. That was probably the most overwrought version I've heard of that song. Just the singer absolutely like belting it out in this very overdone way. It was just pitch perfect for a song that would be in the end credits of a 4-hour Zack Snyder Justice League movie.
The way I would phrase it to people is, it's a white person singing this song, but they're singing it like they just found out about the horrors of slavery. Like that is the complex emotions that are washing over them as they're then forced to perform this song. Like that's what I think in general. Now, critics, to go on like a base 10 rating system, critics gave this movie on average like a 6 out of 10, and fans gave this movie like an 8.5 out of 10. It's a little bizarre. I fall, I think, much more on the 6 out of 10 range. I thought it was fine. Again, like if I'm grading it on a curve, I'm actually going to punish it because it took so long and I don't think it was worth it. But on its face, if you remove the context and you remove the drama and all that sort of stuff around it, yeah, it's fine for what it is. It's a 6 out of 10. Sounds about right. To put it at an 8.5, or in this case, at least on IMDb, an 8.4, would mean that in general, the IMDb user base believes that this movie is better than Oldboy, Citizen Kane, Taxi Driver, and 2001: A Space Odyssey.
It's really taking down some seminal entries in the bro movie canon there. So it's doing its work to make the IMDb top movies more woke, I guess, on a relative scale.
What was that image that was circulating around, the aggressively bland white guy starter pack for movies? Yeah, that's just on Suicide Watch right now. It's a real problem.
And then HBO Max actually posted like a playlist of Zack Snyder's favorite movies.
Oh, that's right.
And then I think it was Netscape. He quote tweeted that list of mediocre white male movies with with a picture of the Zack Snyder playlist. Like, fuck, it's real. It exists.
It's inescapable. Fight it, run from it. Wait, I'm quoting a different comic book movie. Never mind. Okay. So where do you fall on it, though? Like scale of 1 to 10, or how many garbage cans do you give it? If we want to go with this bizarre rating format.
I'm gonna. Okay, so for, let's say 5 garbage cans is the worst.
Okay. All right.
Okay, I would probably give it like 3 garbage cans.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, I can see it. Like,
yeah, just that sort of middle of the road. It's like 6 out of 10, probably too high for me, but just given the length and the fact that I fell asleep and it couldn't hold your interest for one sitting. It's more like some sort of like serialized mini series or something, but it isn't exactly sure what format it wants to be, because each of the chapters themselves, like, they don't really work as standalone episodes, or they wouldn't if they were released that way. And they're just titled with these really like on the nose like quotes. Like, I think the last one or something is like literally called like something darker or something.
Yeah, that's right. The one that stuck out to me was A Father Twice Over, because like then 20 seconds into this chapter, the tape recorder is saying, "I'm your father twice guy's over. Like, okay, great. Oh, okay. We're saying the name of the chapter now. Fantastic. I'm so glad. Let's go ahead and talk shop though. Like this thing is fucking 4 hours long. We need to divvy this up a little bit here. So where the 2017 version might have started off with that awful baby mouth Superman who's trying to like give a quote for some random kid's podcast. Because God, that feels like a Joss Whedon in 2017 move for him to want to do. This instead starts off the right way, at least I think, with watching Superman die in 4K with just his shoulder.
I think it's just straight through his like heart or his chest, or
Okay,
like he just gets impaled on the Kryptonian spear, taking down the whatever that beast that Lex Luthor created.
Yeah, Doomsday. Gotta wipe him out, you know. But we start off like right there, and so then you watch the screen as like his scream reverberates through, and it wakes up all the mother boxes, and they're like, "Oh shit, the Kryptonians no longer here." So great, let's go ahead and let people know. And it was right at the beginning that I finally realized that Zack Snyder, I think, shot in 4:3 the IMAX dimensions, mostly so that way then he would have a justification as to why he's not using any of Joss Whedon's reshoots. Like legitimately, because I believe I know, rather, I don't need to pretend like I don't know. They did use different cameras. And so Joss Whedon is made for the standard theatrical dimensions, and that's how he shot it. Really, and how he spaced his shooting, and so it would look weird in another style format. Meanwhile, Zack Snyder has always pretty much shot with a 4:3, and then they've cut it down to the theatrical style dimensions. So I think since they literally used different cameras, this was further evidence of why Zack Snyder was saying, no, we're going to do it completely my way.
As if he needed an excuse to get rid of that scene with Lois Lane and Martha Kent in the like newsroom break room.
Oh, yeah. Who could forget? Lois Lane, at least in this version, is like, I've been so depressed since Superman died. Like, I haven't been to work at all. In the Joss Whedon version, it's like, I write fluff pieces about kittens now.
Everything's like candy colored. There's like the shot like accentuates her ass when it starts panning. Like, oh God,
it was really bad. Like, I thought they were gonna be like randomly pivoting to the camera and then wanting to talk about like the wonders of Prozac. That's what I thought the Joss Whedon style thing was going to be. Like, what pharmaceutical rep style fucking lighting is this? It looked awful to me. So I'm glad that this other tone that Snyder has is kind of carrying through here. So Superman's death triggers the mother boxes, which then is what attracts one of the main bad guys, Steppenwolf, who's one of Darkseid's servants, and he decides to then pop up to Earth. Now, the initial plot hole that came to me like a vision in a dream, I need your help on this one, Grift, because if the mother boxes reactivated and they alerted Steppenwolf, and the mother boxes were so important to Darkseid, that Darkseid was like, if you get me Earth, we're square. Why the fuck would the mother boxes not have just notified Darkseid? Really seems weird that they would be like, oh yeah, Steppenwolf, yeah, that guy needs a win. Let's go talk to him instead.
So this whole like scenario with the mother boxes being hidden on Earth, and there was this in the primordial eons, there was this great battle on Earth for them. Like, I've seen this trope before in these type of movies where Earth is this like forgotten planet on the outskirts of the galaxy that no one knows about yet. Like the most important artifacts, magical artifacts in the cosmos are somehow all conventionally located there. It's
the entire planet is Harry Potter, basically. Is what
the entire planet is fucking filled with the Horcruxes.
Oh wow, we're all special boys because we live here. Oh wow, it's so great, it's so cool.
It is
just bizarre because there is a flashback that occurs that talks about in the Age of Heroes. So you see the Greek gods that are fighting with men that are fighting with like a Green Lantern cameo and all this shit. So when they push back Darkseid and they take back the mother boxes, you watch the Amazonians, they go to Themyscira and they lock the mother box away like in a giant tomb of a safe. They have hundreds of people that are constantly having their bows and arrows drawn to it, right? Ready to annihilate it. In Atlantis, they have like a giant fucking squid monster that swallows the mother box and then carries it to another bunker layer in Atlantis. You're like, wow, some H.P. Lovecraft monster is now guarding this mother box. It's so important. I wonder what the world of man is going to do. And in typical human fashion, we just kind of like dig a ditch that's like 3 feet deep, and then we dump it in, and then we cover it up with some dirt. It's real nice.
Yeah, didn't it say that later in the movie that it was discovered by the Nazis? And then,
of course it was.
Of course it was but like actually this is very realist of Zack Snyder. Sorry to jump ahead here, but it's just plays into that classic trope of like the Nazis with their their ingenuity and their innovative science. They were able to discover something that no one else was, and then it just happened to be there for the U.S. to take control of, Operation Paperclip and that sort of thing. we got their rocket scientists, we got their fucked up medical experimental people, and we got the fucking we got the mother box from them. So it's like,
I mean, it makes sense, like the entire way through. It also is surprising to me that Joss Whedon would not want that scene to exist in his version of the movie, because that's basically just ripped right from Captain America. Like at the very beginning, the Nazis come in, they take like the the shiny blue cube or whatever. Like that's a mother box for all intents and purposes. Why the fuck not?
Yeah, it's an Indiana Jones trope. Like, let's be real.
Yes,
like,
yeah,
straight up goes back to that.
Darkseid and the magic, the magic MacGuffins is really what it is.
Yeah.
So, while Steppenwolf was like the big bad of the original 2017 movie, in this movie, I did like his portrayal because he is kind of a fuck up of a guy. Like, he's just a dude who's fallen out of favor and he's trying to worm his way back in. And he just really wants Daddy Darkseid to accept him back. And that really, in my head, it fixed a lot of his character problems because he's not some mighty general. He's like the random guy, on like the Last Supper portrait that would exist for Darkseid. He's probably like off in the corner, if not like one of the people serving all the disciples food. Like, he's not, that main dude. And that was, I think, a nice element to add. I don't know if it was necessary, but hey, it's a 4-hour movie. Why the fuck wouldn't you add that little wrinkle into it?
Yeah, you gotta have a villain that has some dimension, because in the original movie, he was just, there's literally nothing going on with him. He was just a guy who wanted the mother boxes so he could conquer. There was no greater motivation. Whereas in this one, he's someone who's fucked up in the past, and he's trying to get back in the good graces of his overlord. And he has some genuine pathos to him. And they give him like that one scene where you see his eyes just get really sad.
Oh,
when you realize like he can't have Earth or whatever. It's like it's all for Darkseid, and he's not gonna get any of what he wanted. Like, he looked really fucking sad, and you feel bad for him. Like, I made a post where I took that picture, and I was like, look at how the Justice League bullied this poor creature. Like, look at the trauma in his eyes. Behold it.
They really did give him Shrek Puss in Boots style eyes for him, with some real
puppy dog eyes.
Real begging energy. Yeah. My favorite thing was that, like, as dope as his armor is in the film, when he does talk to Darkseid, he does act like a beta dog.
Yeah.
Like his armor falls off a little bit, and like he's revealing his belly almost. Like, I trust you, please. He just wants some scratches. Point is, they could have turned him, maybe, like we don't know. How great would that twist have been, that he's one of the other members of the Justice League that no one talks about. Superman finally gave him the acceptance that he wanted for so long. That's my cut of the movie, okay?
Added to the GIGO cut.
Yeah. So Steppenwolf attacks Themyscira, and he gets the mother box with relative ease. And as cool as the revamped style was for Themyscira, this looked like some fucking PS2 level graphics on a work print in a lot of scenes here. Like, Themyscira in general doesn't look good. It really, really doesn't look good when they just kind of treated it like an afterthought in the post-production side. Like, I don't know if it looked that way to you. Maybe it was my TV settings, but I was like, oh, they're on a sound stage. Like, this is all it is. They're just bouncing around. Great.
That whole that plane that the battle scene was shot on, it was just it was even green, so it already looks like a green screen to begin with.
Yeah, for anyone I guess who hasn't watched this movie, do you remember the Windows XP original desktop background? Yeah, it looks kind of like that level green. So the Queen of the Amazons decides to warn her daughter, Wonder Woman, about what all has happened. Wonder Woman then fills Batman in on like this age-old fight that occurred and all the shit that happened with the mother boxes. So Batman and Wonder Woman decide that they need to form a team of metahumans to protect Earth, since Superman is gone, which fucking cool, I guess. The DC movies as a whole have shown me that no one can replace Superman. Like, Suicide Squad was so fucking bad because they were like, we're going to have a crocodile man and a guy who's good with guns and an insane chick with a baseball bat or a hammer. Yeah, that's going to be equal to one Superman in case this happens. But no, of course, fucking not. So actually, I should back up a little bit. We haven't even talked about how Wonder Woman gets introduced in this movie.
Oh God, the fact they kept this scene, because like this scene in the original just set the tone for how bad this thing was going to be. Like with the now infamous "we're a group of reactionary terrorists" line, I just can never get over. And I mean, it is cool to see the guy who played Bruce Bolton kind of fuck up a bank heist or whatever, but just their whole motivation of like, we're going to take the world back to pre-Enlightenment thought by blowing up this bank just doesn't follow and has absolutely no connection to the plot besides just giving a opportunity for Wonder Woman to run around and deflect some bullets. And then
that's exactly right.
Yeah, and then tell a young girl that you too can do this.
You too can do this, but if you try, you will definitely die.
Oh, you're gonna get fucking murked if you actually do. But representation is important.
Oh God, that child is gonna have a shorter life expectancy than a Palestinian when Gal Gadot was a troop. Just immediately taken out is what's going to happen here. But so she gets, like, the actions parts of it were really cool, as with most Zack Snyder stuff, but the dialogue surrounding it was just so cringe-inducing and lame and unnecessary and fluffy. Like, it is both hyper-focused and overly specific while also being too generalized. Like, you don't need the terrorists to try and set things back to the Dark Ages. Like you said, it doesn't make sense. But if you're going to do that, you need to give them a name, and it needs to be ominous, and it needs to be something other than what sounds like some fucking video game cutscene dialogue of, we are a group of reactionary terrorists. Like, you can do better than that. Come on, Zach. Fucking God damn. But yeah, so that's how she gets introduced. And then meanwhile, Batman goes and he finds Aquaman over in Iceland. So good job. We can talk about that scene or not. It really was just kind of this is a slightly better version of what exists in the 2017. So I have no real criticisms of that in particular. Like, great. or at least I wouldn't have any criticisms until the fucking Icelandic woman decides to start singing, and then 6 other Icelandic women start singing, and then they start like smelling Aquaman's sweater that he's ditched to the side. So, you know, there's some real fetish art. Like the Scandinavians get real freaky in winter is what I'm learning.
Yeah, no, that whole scene where Aquaman chugs the bottle of whiskey, just chucks it into the ocean, and then walks in, and the ancient lamentation music, which I think was like, if you turn the subtitles on, a lot of the music describe like the brackets with like the type of music is being played. It says like ancient lamentation.
Yes,
which is like that is the perfect way to describe what is going on in the score behind most of these action scenes.
Yeah, I mean it really is one of those you're trying to set the full scope and show like these are the modern gods. So I understand why you're going with this particular score choice. It's a lot fucking better than the 2017 Joss Whedon version, which was let's add Icky Thump right now by White Stripes in this scene, because that'll make sense. That'll seem really cool, I guess. You know, I don't know. It was just a very, very different vibe. The other person, though, that I would say probably, and just talking about like different vibes here, fucking Barry Allen, the Flash, is set up so much better in this version than in the Joss Whedon version. You actually get to see him using his powers. You get to see him acting just like a fucking weirdo a little bit, and then save some people. And then, you know, the phallic imagery of slow-mo, some special effects artist, that was his job, of CGI rendered hot dogs flying across the sky as Barry Allen is then looking at his future love interest in his spin-off movie. So congrats for the world building, I guess, y'all. It'll I'm sure pay off for you. Good work all the way through. Flash, of course, wants to join instantly. That scene more or less plays exactly the same, only I believe the biggest difference is that the Flash's lair has, instead of random fucking K-pop playing, it has like crime reports on in the background, which okay, great, you know, that seems to be a solid choice here. But of course, Aquaman and Cyborg refuse the call to adventure. We're following the hero's journey all the way through. Do you want to talk about Cyborg a little bit here? You had mentioned it earlier, so.
Yeah, his story was just way more fleshed out. You actually got this story about how he was a college football star, and then got in an accident, and then to save him, his father put him into this machine that both, you know, has weapons and can hack into anything, and his character struggles a lot with, you know, like what am I, like I'm less than a human now, but then, you know, learns that he's more than a human, because he's one of these godlike beings now. So he like becomes sort of the god in the machine, and it's much more fleshed out, and it's much more believable backstory, because it was pretty much all cut from Joss Whedon's version, and then combined with the fact that he spoke about the abuse he experienced on set, which probably played into why it was cut from the original. It was good to see that his original vision for the character is now shown to people, because it definitely is an improvement. Probably like on the margin, like which character's presence was improved the most by the updated version, Cyborg by far and away.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, because he's like the main character of this movie by default.
Yeah, almost, he's the audience perspective, because he's the outsider who's like him, and like the Flash sort of too, but Cyborg even more so. Like I think the first, like it opens with him, like the first like non-godly super, like, you know, elevated superhero scene is with Cyborg. Like he's obviously the audience entrance point.
Correct.
From like a layman's perspective.
Yeah. Of course, the audience perspective here is like, you can control the banks, you can control the media, you can control the stock market. The nuclear launch codes are at your command. I was like if this was the Joss Whedon version, I'm just picturing Handlebars by Flowbots probably playing in the background while that's occurring.
Yeah, I'm just surprised they didn't have one of his talents being able to control like Reddit mobs. Like, he's like a poster on our Wall Street bets. Like,
I'm telling you, GameStop, okay?
Yeah,
Trust me.
That was Cyborg. He can pump and dump stocks like no other.
And you still let Robin Hood happen, Cyborg. What happened? what occurred there?
Whose interest do you really serve?
I actually would be kind of psyched for like a Cyborg movie that's all just like corporate espionage.
Yo, like some Mr. Robot shit? That would rock.
Yeah. You know, like that would actually be pretty great. Although, I mean, since he's an alien technology supercomputer, I have a feeling the actual plot and conflict would take like 5 seconds. So, you know. So, anyways, Cyborg is the son of this other guy named Silas Stone. And Silas and several other people are captured because they are in connection to the mother box. And Steppenwolf can smell it on them. And so that's a big change from 2017, which is just that stated that the parademons and Steppenwolf, like, they feed on fear. And instead it's like, oh, no, he's trying to track the mother box instead of just the blatant, like, if you're afraid, they can sense it. Ooh, gabooga, booga, booga. Isn't that crazy? But Steppenwolf attacks Atlantis. He takes their mother box also again with a whole lot of ease. No one really had any issue there. Mira has a new accent. She tries to do a little bit of blood bending underneath the water, and that was legitimately like a cool scene. You know, if I hadn't seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, I guess I would be more impressed by it. But it's just like, yeah, no, if you can control water, you can control blood. That makes sense to me. Okay, why are you not manipulating this just all the time? Like that seems to be
good thing they never made a movie of that show. So we'd have no idea what it looked like on screen before now. But one thing though that stood out to me about this action scene is it's the first example of it sort of taking advantage of the R rating. Like, you actually these scenes, you actually see people get gored and impaled and limbs chopped off and blood, and it's definitely more visceral than your average cape shit.
And it felt more authentic too, you know, like to see a little bit of blood and a little bit of spray, and again, like you said, just that element of being visceral there, it made scenes have just a bit more weight, and I appreciated that so much, because the MCU super sanitized, like Captain America kicks someone through a wall but they're fine, or we're supposed to think that, and not, you know, like a human vegetable for the rest of their life.
No one has ever shed a drop of blood in the MCU, and that includes like all the civilians in the cities that they level in every movie.
No, they get plenty of face cuts, specifically like around the eyebrow area, but outside of that, nothing that actually damages the important part, you know. Gotta protect it all. What did you think about this version of Aquaman and like how they talk to each other with the fucking air bubbles, or they talk to each other like fish? Did you like that more or less than like the Aquaman 2018 movie that came out?
So I actually have not seen the Aquaman movie, which is, I know it's disappointing because I know it was like, I've been meaning to watch it, but I know
it's the one good movie.
I know, right? Like, but I heard that you have to, like, a good way to watch it is to be on a lot of drugs.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I haven't been on the right concoction yet. So it'll definitely get viewed when I'm in the right mind state at some point.
In the same way that this movie was made with the knowledge that there would be no sequel, the Aquaman movie was made with the idea that there would be no sequel. So they threw everything at the wall and they just played it all completely straight. And it turned out to just like fucking rock. And then they're, of course, getting a sequel made to it. So congratulations. Good for them.
Yeah, definitely have to check that out. Yeah.
but they do not talk in air bubbles. Okay, like they fixed a lot of Atlantis-based issues by not including these scenes in the Snyder cut, or I'm sorry, in the 2017 version, because that then led them to be free to do whatever scenes and however they best felt in the 2018 version. So they averted disaster there. I'm glad. Back to the story at hand, though, the actual Justice League. Commissioner James Gordon, did you recognize him? J.K. Simmons there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, him. Do you remember the photos that came out of him, like, being super jacked? Like, and being ripped, and people were like, why is he getting ripped to play Commissioner Gordon? What the fuck is happening?
It's like, doesn't he wear a suit the whole time?
Yeah.
I guess that's just Zack Snyder like rules. Like it's like professional wrestling weighing in, except it's like he has to make sure that all the men have washboard abs.
He'll put a fat suit on you, but underneath that fat suit, washboard abs the entire time. It's part of the stipulation. So anyway, Commissioner Gordon is like, oh, hey, Steppenwolf's army is at like this bizarre coordinate, but nothing's there. They're like, actually there is, but it's underwater. Whoa, okay, cool. Like bad police work on your part, Commissioner Gordon, to think that the aliens would only be looking for stuff on land. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I mean, it's Gotham City. Like, I think it doesn't talk about enough how in any canon he's got to be the most shittiest, like, corrupt police commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just a get. Anyone who assumes that role in Gotham is just like they're not doing much real police work there.
No.
Besides just fighting the bat signal.
It is going to be, I think, really interesting to see what they end up deciding to do with Gotham in general, because I know they're going to be moving forward with like a GCPD show on HBO Max.
Oh God,
and it's going to be following. Yeah, so that's going to be great, because we learned nothing from Gotham on Fox. We're like, no, we need more of that, more police procedurals, please. Like, Gotham SVU, sure, why not? Let's make it a thing. Let's see. So they go to the location point of the facility, and as it turns out, they battle with Steppenwolf, and they end up fighting with each other. But then, when you know it, Aquaman comes in, says he can control water, and he ends up saving them, so they end up escaping. Cyborg then reveals that he actually has had the mother box. And that's then when he also is talking about his backstory, all of the shit that gets cut. Like in the 2017 version, it's just like, oh, by the way, I have the mother box. Let's just see if what we should resurrect Superman or not. No questions asked along the way. Meanwhile, like in this version, you get to see this, since Cyborg is talking about how, yes, it did bring me back. Yes, it can, bring essentially like life and reprogramming back. So maybe it could work. The whole thing really highlights to me just how badly Whedon fucked up with this.
Yeah, it feels like an actual movie.
Yeah. Fine. I'll in post, I'll just delete all of my sentences where I'm trying to get to the point that you just made. That's exactly right. That's called good editing. You hear that, Zach? They reach the same conclusion that is reached in the other movie, that they need to bring Superman's back from the dead. So they go to fucking Kansas, and they dig up Superman's body. And, it is just like a bizarre scene, because in the 2017 version, it's just Cyborg and Flash. In this scene, though, like, it's the whole crew that's all gotten together for some godforsaken reason, that they're all deciding to just kind of hang out in the back of a truck while Cyborg and Flash are just digging up his body. Sure. And then they're going to bring the body into the Kryptonian scout ship, and then they're going to activate the mother box, which you get like the super tense countdown scene. Like, I don't know if we should do it. I think we should do it. I don't know. Should we do it? You check the runtime. You're like, we got 2 goddamn hours left. Like, they're going to do it. How are they not going to?
Yeah, just like something about that grave digging scene, it felt the way it was shot and the colors and the sort of weird campy dialogue, it felt very like a CW show.
It really
Like
did.
it was that sort of core. It was like, is this Riverdale or some shit? Like, like
You get the same beats as before. Superman wakes up, he's confused, he's coming back from the dead, and so everything's real tense. Cyborg decides to still try and fucking blast him because he's perceived as a threat. Which, don't you just hate those first introductions? or maybe that's like a little bit of coding on Zack Snyder's part, like, I don't know why, but Cyborg is the one who first used a gun on Superman. Really makes you think here about what all's going on.
And it was because his system was auto reacting.
Yeah.
He couldn't control it. It's almost like certain types of people, their innate proclivity for violence is out of their hands because of certain innate traits.
Don't you just hate it when a group of cyborgs walk up to you?
Oh, God. We got to be careful here.
All right. So that's then, of course, like Superman starts just beating everyone's ass in what is just a super comic booky scene to me. Like,
oh God, yeah,
I cannot take it seriously. Like, as emotional, I really did like the Flash's use of powers that he does later, but like this scene in particular, when they're going slow mo, I was like, this is meant for toddlers. Like, this is just some of the stupidest stuff in the world here.
You would like Batman dragging like troops and cops behind like cop cars and Humvees. Like, the whole thing was, the way it was shot in this like open, like sort of, this like open city park area where there wasn't much going on. It was just this like very staged environment where they could have this fight and it wasn't going to affect the city at all. Like past, like the Batman versus Superman, the beginning of it dealt with the aftermath of two Titans fighting in the sky, which from Man of Steel, but that's because it's completely forgotten. We're gonna fight in the middle of the city in this staged environment. There's absolutely no effects beyond having Batman having to drag the brave first responders behind their vehicles.
Which that's the other thing too. It's so adorable to me that these people are like, yeah, it's Superman. He's the most powerful being possibly in the entire universe. Yeah, I think my standard issue handgun, though, might be able to stop him. All right, I'm just going to unload a clip into him. Oh, no, now he's using his laser god eyes on me. Who could have possibly foreseen this? Like, no, you don't engage with him is the winning strategy here. Although I will say that Lois Lane then popped up because it's part of like her randomized grief ritual to appear every day at the Superman memorial so she can look at the beheaded statue of her ex-boyfriend. And so she pops up and everyone's just looking. Is Lois going to be the key? Oh my God, it actually did happen. Oh, wow. So Superman, picks her up, and then they end up going to Smallville, and that, there are a couple of like cute farm scenes that occur there, and I really enjoyed that more than the 2017 version, because in 2017 she is strictly a pawn for Batman. Batman's like, we're gonna have to pull out the big guns, and it turns out that she is the big guns. So fucking wonderful. Although the Snyder Cut version raises a lot of questions to me here, because while he's in Smallville, that's then when he reunites also with his mom, Martha, the Martha that everyone is wondering about a little.
Martha.
But here's my legitimate question for you, Grift. Are we sure that this is Martha and not just Martian Manhunter? Like, are we positive that this is actually Martha Kent?
Is that a theory that's out there? Like, is that what,
I mean, we see Martha Kent, pack up all of her bags as she's talking to Lois Lane. But then once they get done talking, having this like really well shot, sincere, emotional heart to heart. The second she leaves the apartment, she transforms into Martian Manhunter. You're like, what the fuck? It just happened here. Why is Martian Manhunter able to empathize so much with Lois Lane about what is like a stranger to him that he's pretending is his dead child? Like, what the fuck? There's some mind games here. So that's my question: is how long has Martha Kent actually been dead for? That's the real thing I want to try and figure out here. Because wouldn't that be a twist the entire time? I'm thinking you go all the way back. That's always been Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, who was the guy who played Superman's dad? Was that Kevin Costner?
Yeah, that's right.
He was having sex with the Martian Manhunter this whole time.
That's canon. That's in the GIGO cut
canon.
now.
Yeah, you heard it here.
That's why I've been so accepting of aliens. You ever get your dick sucked by a Martian? It's magical. Okay, well, to continue on in the much less entertaining version than the one that we're constructing all of a sudden, Steppenwolf then attacks Star Labs and retrieves the mother box because it's been activated because it was dormant before since it blew all of its original juice, making Cyborg. So congratulations. He now has all of the mother boxes, and he's going to the fucking Russian, nuclear plant, nuclear factory. It's very vague, and it's also like vaguely anti-Soviet at the same time.
Yeah, it's clearly supposed to be a Chernobyl, Pripyat comparison. But it's also like says it's right next to Moscow, so it's like as if Chernobyl happened in like the imperial core of the Soviet Union instead of like in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So it's just they in this universe they fucked it up even more.
So since Superman's currently AWOL, the 5 heroes had to then go stop Steppenwolf, and they fight him and they fight the parademons, but they're not able to distract Steppenwolf enough to allow Cyborg to then separate the mother boxes and prevent unity. But then, dun dun dun, Superman Ex Machina decides to appear in an all-black suit, which, your Grift shop, you of all people, have to know the importance of the proper accessories before you go into any outing.
Yes,
yeah.
Like you absolutely have to have like that black tea Grift shop drip before you go into any go outside, go battle with a primordial space being. It's essential, and I think it can be summed up like I love this line from earlier in the movie from Cyborg where he's like, "I'm always dressed."
Yeah,
and when you put on Grift Shop, that's what happens. You're always dressed. You're ready for whatever. And I was happy to supply Superman with a custom order. For this particular rebrand that he did. It was a good opportunity for me.
Yeah, I mean, and like as much as I loved the black suit in the in the movie, because I did legitimately have a moment where I was like, oh, cool, like from the comics, yay, I'm 12 again. I have feelings. I was honestly hoping that instead that he would come in and battle Steppenwolf while wearing the Kryptonian armor instead of the black suit.
Oh, that'd be badass.
And then like after he gets rid of Steppenwolf, then underneath is like the black suit, kind of like how it would be like the underlayer of like a space suit or something like that. That's what I thought it might end up being. Mostly because, like, that's my favorite thing that Zack Snyder's ever done is all of the Kryptonian Warhammer 40K looking fucking space outfits and battle suits.
And that battle suit that Batman had that he fought Superman in, the Bat mech suit. Like,
yeah, why does Batman not wear that when battling Steppenwolf, actually?
Right?
Hold on a second.
He only gets to use each of his toys once. He gets to use that like giant walking spider thing once. He gets to use the plane, the battle. Yeah, like how many of these things does he have?
There are a lot of like logistical questions here. We find out that he actually has 6 satellites, and if that's the case, then like why couldn't you do like some low orbital delivery systems of your ship and everything else. Like it seemed like there are some workarounds.
Why doesn't he have tungsten rods in those satellites ready to to drop on Earth, right? Like his superpower is that he's rich after all. Like, come on.
Oh, that would be fucking beautiful. I would love that. Just like if out of nowhere a giant rod came through and just speared Steppenwolf just right through. No questions asked. No context. Not even allowing Superman to have like his superhero moments.
The GIGO cut just writes itself.
Yeah. It's perfect here. So, Superman battles Steppenwolf, kind of handles him pretty easily, but then the supercharge is needed to help separate the mother boxes and prevent unity from happening. Flash has been delayed, and in what I actually thought was a cool scene, you watch the superheroes lose. Like, they don't make it in time. And so, like, the bright white light of a void just booms, explodes, and takes over. And that's then when you realize Flash needs to fully access the Speed Force, fully realize his powers, and then run so fast that he's going faster than the speed of light, and in fact able to then go backwards in time, even if it's only for a few seconds. Like, that was, in my head, legitimately probably like a top 10 superhero moment for me. I'm not saying like it would probably even crack like the top 50 of like real life moments, like from real movies. But in terms of superhero stuff, I just thought that it was all set up to be pretty impactful for me, although I understand and will respect begrudgingly anyone who holds a different opinion. It's fine. It's fine to be dead inside. I understand. And I guess it was weird because Flash, like in the 2017 version, really seemed like he was kind of a teenager who was just figuring out his powers, and in this movie, you get to see him actually be almost fully powered throughout the whole thing, and it didn't feel unnatural at any point in time. So I have no real notes on that. I can't really say like, oh well, this improvement should have happened or whatever. I mean, point is, good job Zack Snyder for doing Flash, because I would have thought that Joss Whedon would do a better version of Flash, because Flash's dialogue seems the most like MCU friendly out of all of the heroes. But
and it also had the sort of the anti gig economy angle to it now, because his dad in prison is like, well, you have these 3 gig jobs, get a real job.
Yeah.
And it's like,
why can't you get a real job, son? Fuck you, Dad. You're in prison for killing mom. Don't
fuck
lecture
you,
me,
Dad. I am the greatest Postmates deliverer in the world. Like,
yeah, it is also like really weird that he would do all of these gig work things instead of like probably what would be like the actual easiest job, and that's like be like a trick shots video guy on YouTube and just like rake in that, like, watch me run from here to here, I run so fast, watch me on TikTok do that, and people would be like, how the fuck is he doing that? Just something like that.
Just rob rich people's houses in and out. Yeah. Like
that is actually the correct answer. Yeah. Just rob them. It's fine.
Yeah. Take their shit. They can't stop you.
Then we get to like the final actual closing out battle sequence of Aquaman stabbing Steppenwolf, Wonder Woman decapitating him, and then the body just gets sent through a portal to Apocalypse, where then Darkseid looks and he's like, ah man, that guy, he's dead as fuck. Yeah, exactly. What I really almost would have loved, and again, this is MCU brain rot here, because it would not have been good for the scene, but I would have loved if Darkseid was like, who is this? Oh, that's Steppenwolf? Oh, yeah, okay. Man, that sucks. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, back to whatever it is I was doing. But in reality, playing it serious was definitely the right move, because Darkseid then says he's going to return to Earth and he's going to try and figure out the anti-life equation. Again, the giant math problem that gets burned into the Earth and tells you how to rule the universe. So great, I guess. Don't you love like sequel teases for films that will never exist?
Yeah,
it's a delight.
And I feel like that's going to taint this cut because it's promises that like a payoff to these things they're building, and it's never going to happen.
Yeah,
But,
yeah. I mean, like immediately after the battle, Batman, Wonder Woman, Alfred, all of the people, they set up a base of operations at what used to be Wayne Manor, and so that's going to be like the new Hall of Justice. Is kind of what they're implying. And in my head, that's where the movie should have ended. Really and truly, it was right there. I would have forgiven it, but then instead we get 30 minutes of goddamn sequelitis style cuts of Deathstroke talking to Lex Luthor breaking out of prison, Batman nightmare scene where he's talking to Joker. Yeah, I mean, like I want to talk about it, but I also like there's no point in talking about it really because it's not going to pay off in anything. Like
I think the only thing worth talking about is how bad the Snyderverse his vision for these future movies would be played out. In that scene, just like how batshit insane that storyline is, and just how badly it would if he actually executed on his vision for this series. Just like how off the mark that entire story is.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into that, you know, kind of in just a little bit, but
yeah,
I wanted to get your opinions though, like kind of on the Snyder trilogy now, like as it stands of Man of Steel, BVS Ultimate Edition, and then Zack Snyder's Justice League. Do you like it as a trilogy? Because I mean, I think all of them are okay.
Yeah,
like,
they're all you know they're pretty solid movies. They're not doing anything really groundbreaking or new, but you know they have a style to them. They're clearly part of this vision that he has. So it's cool to see that play out rather than these serial, like on the Marvel side, these sort of like serialized TV episodes that are what their movies are with these very, very different tone, very different people behind them. And yeah, that variety can be nice if you're trying different genres, but if you're going with this heightened mythological tone that he is, it's cool to see that vision completed here. I guess it's satisfying to that degree. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, like the thing for me that I notice, like if you look at the trilogy, is it's Zack Snyder taking more and more creative control. Like Man of Steel kind of feels like a studio movie that Zack Snyder gave the aesthetics to. BVS is finally Zack Snyder getting to like do the director's cut version of a studio film, and you're like, oh well, this is cool. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League, you're like, oh okay, well they just let him do whatever he wanted, and they did. So you know, congratulations. The comparison point that I give is the Knives Out meme with Daniel Craig that exists. You know, it's so stupid, but it compels me. Like that's exactly how I feel with these, and they are aggressively average and fine. Like I can't wait to watch them again in 5 years and have completely forgotten about them just entirely until then. I say 5 years, I probably mean like 15. So you know, it's fine though. For the sake of the podcast, I'll say 5. I guess ultimately though, did this movie feel like a 4-hour film to you? What did you think of it?
Well, like it felt. When I fell asleep in the middle, it became two-hour movies.
Okay, got it.
So that's how I consumed it. Attempting to sit down for 4 hours, definitely not manageable. Probably isn't for most people. Like I literally had to be like, okay, when am I going to find time in my schedule this weekend to watch this thing and to literally plan it out.
It was great. I took 2 breaks. Roughly kind of cut it into thirds, and so it felt very manageable to me. I had an absolute ball of a time. I've watched like 90-minute films that have felt longer than Zack Snyder's Justice League, so you know I'll give him credit. Although those are actually only 90 minutes, so it isn't like time warp being relative to it. So 4 hours is still just way too long. I don't want anyone to feel inspired and be like, see, look, you said once that 4-hour movie was okay. That means you love 4-hour movies. No, I don't need that to exist in the canon here. Were you familiar with what Zack Snyder wanted to do in the sequels? I know we've talked a little bit about it, but have you come across anything in the wild?
No, not before you showed me that insane graphic that we had as the episode art for the last show, and just the details of the plot that he wanted to go with are just fucking wild. So, like, yeah, walk us through what his plans for this for his Snyderverse were.
That's right. And that's something I want the DC fans that are tweeting, hashtag restore the Snyderverse. I want them to know that because he's giving away all of these plot points, this is how we know that we are not, in fact, going to get any sequels made to this. Because he absolutely would want to keep this under wraps if he thought that there was even a shred of him working on another movie. But he knows that, it isn't gonna happen. So anyways, here's just kind of some blow by blow things. So first off, Lois Lane is in fact pregnant. Congratulations. He did confirm that in the when asked questions about it, but in the sequel it's going to be she is pregnant with Batman's child. So real big right there that the Snyder cut has become the Snyder cuck, if you will. We got to work on that, tag it everywhere that we possibly can. Then when Darkseid comes to Earth, he incinerates Lois Lane right after she tells Superman that the baby is in fact Batman's. So then Superman goes on a killing spree, wipes out half the Justice League. Keep in mind, this is the Justice League that has just been formed, basically. Okay. And then he becomes a minion of Darkseid. So congratulations, Batman, you were right, I guess, about your 1%er doctrine.
Yeah.
Then several years go by, and then Batman is eventually convinced by the Joker to go back in time and then sacrifice himself by killing himself to prevent the universe from being destroyed. In other words, like go back in time to prevent yourself from having sex with Superman's wife. Like that's going to be like the big draw of what the sequel plot was going to be. God damn.
If I had a time machine, a gun with 2 bullets, I would go back in time in a room with Hitler and Batman, and I'd shoot Batman twice.
Yeah, because otherwise the mother boxes wouldn't be discovered, and we wouldn't have Cyborg. We need Hitler.
Yeah, we need him to get to jumpstart the plot of this.
Critical support for Hitler. Oh boy. Oh. Yeah, so I mean, this is the way that the trilogy ended. So the next thing that I think of is, so what's next? Like, where does WB go? Where does specifically DC go? And the answer is they are going, like, are they going to follow our auteur vision, or are they going to become like Marvelized? That kind of is the which way Western man that they are really facing in this moment here. And I want to give you an idea of what their upcoming slate is, Grift, and you can tell me whether or not you think that they are becoming Marvelized or whether or not they're following, director passion projects. First, we have The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, and then a Peacemaker TV series. Peacemaker is like a character that will be in The Suicide Squad, and is played by John Cena. Then we have The Batman by Matt Reeves, and then that Gotham City Police Department TV show. It's all a tie-in, you see, so that's going to be nice. Then the writer/director of Promising Young Woman, that Oscar-nominated movie that I still have yet to see because they haven't made it easily available for streaming yet. But that person is getting a Zatanna film. So congrats to them, really kind of building up the universe. Then we're getting a Flash movie in 2022, Aquaman 2, Shazam 2, a Black Adam movie that's going to be with The Rock, and then Wonder Woman 3. Just all of that is happening within the next 2 years, by the way.
I mean, just the glut of content there, it's leaning me definitely towards they're trying to make like a Marvel type thing out of it.
Yeah.
Like even if they're not going to have this greater vision for a Snyderverse or whatever, it's like the sheer amount of sequels and spin-offs that they're doing here, and they're running a whole new Batman like origin story where you have to go through all that again, and it's just Like, yeah, it's just this content glut.
You remember about the bat symbol, right? You on his chest.
Yeah.
This Batman, the bat symbol, is made from the parts of the gun that killed his parents.
You fucking kidding me?
No, it's gritty. You see, it's so gritty. It's like sand. You can feel it in your mouth at the same time.
It's coarse. It gets everywhere.
Yeah. So that's what DC is doing. I mean, it seems like they realize, like, okay, well, one of these movies is probably going to resonate with fans, and then we'll follow like that aesthetic for the whole universe. But we got to throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Meanwhile, Zack Snyder has really just kind of, I think, realized his passion project is going back to zombie movies.
Hell yeah.
What's up next for him? He's doing Army of the Dead. So I can't wait to talk about that movie with you.
I feel like we haven't had a good zombie project in a while because they oversaturated the market with just so much zombie shit a few years ago. But it's died down now. So I think we're ready for just judging from the trailer. It's in Vegas, right? Like,
yes, it is.
So it's just going to be, it's going to be batshit insane. And I'm very excited to cover it.
Why are they robbing a bank or stealing from a safe to get cash in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? I don't know. Why does currency matter in a zombie apocalypse? I have no fucking idea.
Money is even less real in a zombie apocalypse than it is in real life.
How great would it be, by the way, if it's like, we think it's like a worldwide zombie apocalypse. It is just Vegas. Like, they've just quarantined it off. They're like, we don't know what to fucking do. There's all these zombies here. So, we're leaving it as like a no man's land. So, I don't know. I do know, though, what will be next for us, though, and that is just the best showdown that I think we could possibly hope for. You know, we have a king versus a god. That's what we have. We have lizard versus monkey. We have Godzilla versus King Kong. I'm really excited to see what this offering is going to be. Man, do you have any predictions? Like, do you think that Godzilla versus Kong is going to be better or worse than Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Honestly, I'm probably going to enjoy it more just because it'll probably still be like, knowing these movies is probably still gonna be like a 2.5 hour runtime with all ancillary human characters that aren't fleshed out very well, that are just distracting from the fact that I just want a tight 90-minute movie that's all action. There's no pretension of just identifying with the human characters or whatever. Like, no, we want to see a giant dinosaur lizard just go toe to toe with a oversized ape for 90 minutes. Like, that's like nothing else.
It's so hard. Like, if they manage to fuck up this premise by being like, but in reality, we're going to spend an hour with the human characters.
Yeah,
the real reason people come to this thing. Fuck you. Fuck off. All we want are kaiju fights. That's all we want. Kong versus Godzilla versus Clifford the Big Red Dog. That's the universe that we're building towards. But now it's over. We can finally purge the memory of this movie from our systems. It's good. I feel the relief. I can now finally start to I don't know, look back into my child's eyes and feel genuine joy instead of trying to remind her of her mortality because Zack Snyder is imbued in my brain.
Yeah, just the feeling of being done covering this thing. I just feel like I could start levitating into the clouds like Superman. Just the weight has been lifted. I am free. My body is lighter than air.
Oh my God. I mean, you're exactly right though. That's what happens. I mean, I think it's going to be just a joy. But before we close out here, though, Grift, it's time for plugs. So where can people find you? What have you got going on?
As always, grift.shop. I got some new collabs that are probably going to be dropping over the next couple weeks. So always a lot of stuff happening over there.
Yeah.
So, at Grift Shop, the O is a 0 is my Twitter handle.
Fantastic. And then, as always, go ahead and follow the show on Twitter at GIGO Podcast. We're going to be here 2 weeks from today, from this recording, talking about Godzilla versus Kong. So if y'all have any thoughts, please feel free and either DM us or DM the show. Probably better just to DM us, so that way then we can take screenshots and then gossip about you. But yeah, until then, just know that we love you. Deuces.
Peace.
Yeah.